Grand Rising. And welcome to Rise Up with Blooming Lotus Wellness. My name is Danyelle Claxton, and today is Monday, February 20th, 2023.
Grand Rising.
Grand
Rising.
And as you see, I'm in a different location in my house because I have this dining room table that's bar stool. So I'm usually sitting over there. But because of this whole week, I'm like, I think I need to sit in my ergonomic office chair. I can sit down and talk. So yeah. I also found a tea. It's a tea that's kind of like a coffee. They call it, they want it to be like a coffee replacement, but it's not a coffee. It's chaga mushroom and ashwagandha. And I know the coffee that I drink on my company has chaga mushroom in it, which chaga mushroom is a mushroom that grows on the north side of a birch tree and is usually harvested around this time of year.
Yeah.
It's an adaptogen herb, and it fights inflammation and it fights pain, and it's absolutely just amazing. And this also has ashwagandha, which is another adaptogen herb. And so pretty tasting. You could add cream to it, just like you do whatever you want. But when I say fast acting, as far as pain relief and just overall just changing your mood, period, that that was a pretty good find to have because it definitely works. It's by a company called Teechino, Teechino, and you can find them. You definitely find them in Nature Patch, Whole Foods. It's more of they're a company that has a healthy alternative to coffee. I even found that they have something new out that has dandelion in it, which I'm totally dandelion and matcha or something like that together. I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And if you know, dandelion is an excellent herb by which to cleanse the blood.
Mm-hmm.
So they looks like they're coming out with more stuff to wean people off what's normal. And so, yeah, that coffee right there was absolutely, no, it's not even coffee. That drink right there is definitely one I'm going to keep in my medicine cabinet. For like whenever you just feel like you just need to calm down, woosah. But
Yeah.
the pain part, the inflammation part was really interesting. And it's interesting because I found out about chaga mushroom being at Tava. And it's like, oh, I didn't know this would be so beneficial. Now, I want to get into the mushrooms and I want to get into having all of them, the lion's tail, lion's mane. Um, I know about chaga. I know about it's a couple other ones, but I just want to have. I'm the type of person I like to have the stuff for so when I need it or if I need to mix my own, I have my own.
Yeah. Mama Evelyn, what is in your mind? You're smiling and
It's amazing.
mm,
Morning, think of something. I got up, RJ's at his father's for the week because it's winter break. And I got up this morning and I was thinking, I need to really grill up some vegetables, and I said, dang, there's got to be more mushrooms that I can incorporate into my diet besides the regular that you can get
yeah.
from. And what does Danny talk about? Like, okay, all right, God. Just confirmation after confirmation because yeah, I saw somebody on Facebook made that was Mama Philpott, Marsha Music. Do you know her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, you don't know Marsha Music? Her dad owned her dad owned the only black uh record store around the time of the riots, and they burned it down, and he
Mm.
just kind of lost all hope after that.
Mm.
But he had all the greats in there, and he knew a lot of people. But And she's
I'm
still
listening.
around town. If you've ever seen, she's regal. When you see her, she's her head is wrapped sometimes. She has these big glasses, and her husband, her she's a widow. Her husband, Philip Philpott, he was a terrific artist. Look him up. Oh my God, he made the most beautiful canes. But you, oh my goodness. And she said she made a refrigerator soup, so anything that was in the refrigerator, she put in the
She threw
soup.
it in there.
Yeah. So I was like, it looked good. And she said these different kind of mushrooms. I said, mushrooms, see? Because mushrooms, the texture takes the place of meat,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Mhm.
So yeah, and I said it's got to be something different than because the white mushrooms and the what is it the
Portobello,
mushrooms you get from
white mushrooms, and well, I know portobello. To me, portobellos have more of a steak-like texture. Oyster. Also heard a lot of people do oyster mushrooms. They fry oyster mushrooms. Says that it gives the taste of I don't know, like fish or the sea, but it's a lot of fried oyster mushroom what is it, recipes out there.
well, the white mushroom and the what did you say the portobello? That's all the same. They're just different ages. I mean, the white mushroom may be different, but the portobello, I think it is. It's all the same mushroom. It's just different stages of gathering. I'm like, okay. So they just giving us the same thing in three.
Hmm. I got
Yeah.
somebody. It's like, and it's funny because at the point I got out of white mushrooms and went over to portobellos, and now it's like I'm back. I don't know. I'm ready to experiment. I know I'm tired of the same old. Uh, just stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, it's time to. Then he's thinking about roasting vegetables. You got me thinking about doing this vegetable curry today, just because I need something different. And I think I'm gonna do that. It was between doing shrimp fried rice or vegetable curry with some. I have some shrimp in the freezer. It's like, oh, I haven't had curry in a while. I think that would be something nice to do.
Yeah, I love curry.
Now, when you roast your vegetables, Mama Evelyn, do you do like a big pan and it's like carrots and beets and everything like that?
Yeah. And then I have like two big cookie sheets, and I lay them out. I toss them, with the seasonings and olive oil, and then roast them in the oven, and then put them in glass containers.
Oh,
And then as I need them, if I'm making RJ a veggie burger,
mhm.
uh, I'll make the veggie burger in the air fryer and put some vegan cheese and then the vegetables on top on a bun, and he loves it. He'll gobble it up.
One
Yeah.
for you. This is the herbal drink. And I don't know, this is a French press. I don't know if anybody has seen a French press, but this is a French press from IKEA. Um, I like French presses. It makes me feel fancy. But that's how they use sometimes they do their coffee. So you put um the herbs, and I also use this when I have loose herbs too. It's excellent for loose herb tea. But you put it in there and then you literally press it down so that the herbs stay at the bottom. And when you go to pour in your coffee cup or whatever, you just have the liquid
Oh,
and
okay.
not the herb. I got a bigger one from IKEA for like $3, and I think these were like $1.99.
What?
This is like $1.99 because it's like a single serve. I got the single serve ones back in May when my boyfriend caught COVID. And so when I was making his herbal teas, I needed something where I can, strain it. But then also whatever you drink and I'm drinking, so I don't catch what you got. So I end up getting two of these. These are like $2. And then I have a bigger one. The bigger one is like maybe $3 or $4 from
Wow.
IKEA.
Whoa.
So yeah, I love these as an herbalist. I love this because as you can see, the herbs at the bottom and they're just pressed down.
Yeah. I need
So,
to get some of those for the shop.
oh yeah, that would be nice. While I get a true herbal tea blend. Um, and yeah, this is the chaga mushroom and ashwagandha. So yeah, yeah. And let me ask you a question. I recently found out that one of my favorite black owned where I usually get my herbs is a young woman. She's a part of Nez's family, Paradise family, and she came out with these 3 ounce uh containers of loose herbs, and it was everything from spirulina to burdock to uh just everything, almost damn near everything. And I knew for the last couple of weeks it was hard trying to find her. Like I knew normally she's at the Royal Oak Farmers Market. Normally she's at no at certain places, but then she just disappeared. And then I recently found out that she closed down her business, and I'm like, okay, I get things happen, I get life happens and everything like that, but as a loyal customer and a loyal fan and someone that loves and promote, you know what I'm saying, promotes other people's brand, there was nothing, not even on her fanbook fan page. Not we're about to close, not that we're going to close, not it was just crickets. And I
Right.
just want to know, like, how do people, especially in this day and age, because we got social media, you know what I'm saying? You can put up a sign. You don't have to tell us the story. You can just be like, hey, I'm closing. Instead of having people searching for you, like, I understand that businesses close all the time, but how do you feel when people just, small business just ghost? It's called, I call it ghosting, where
Yeah.
you
Just
don't say nothing.
sometimes life overwhelms people. It just overwhelms them. And that's maybe the last thing on their mind is clients and stuff, because life is overwhelming them. And that's the only thing that I can think, that life overwhelms them. And sometimes they just don't even think about. Yeah, they don't think in that way.
Mm. I just wanted to throw it out there.
Because I know
Also,
people have, I lost your number, or, 'cause I've been around for a long time. Somebody will see me and I've been looking for you. I lost your number, and I know that I'm out there. If they just went to Facebook and typed my name, if they just went to Google and typed my name, Everett's is going to come up.
mhm.
So, yeah, people just they don't think about that. It's like I've been around. Yeah, but life sometimes, people don't, they're just doing stuff, and they don't think about what happens. Um, if life happens, how do they connect with the people? Some of them are so consumed with life happening, it knocks them off their feet, as who's that, Stevie Wonder? Knocks me off my feet. So, ladies, when I think it's when I met, I don't know if is that when I met Mama Evelyn. I knew I had met Danyelle, but the class that you all were taking together with Sunzi and Shoshana,
Oh,
Shakti
Shashada.
Show.
Shoshana, what was all of that about? What did y'all learn? What did you get from that?
Um,
I know
maybe Danny can tell you more than I can.
So I
It felt like an initiation into something higher for me. I really, you know, um, it was an experience into, I guess, more of an African centered thing, initiation than what, any sort of religion is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because,
It was
of
yeah,
the
it was
rituals.
definitely, I would
Learn
say
to
it was
honor.
hmm I'm sorry, go on, Mama Eva. I'm sorry.
No, we learn to, things like when you go into a cemetery, we had to get certain things and how to leave a donation if it's pennies. If you take something, you give something back. Um, it was yeah. Didn't we take a spiritual? It was I don't know. It felt good to be a part of just learning something different from traditional religion
Uh-huh.
for me.
So how has it impacted your life? That you knew it was from this teaching, this experience, that your life changed, or the way you do something, or the way you look at something, the way you approach something, or that the
Well,
way you think you don't think like that about particular things.
So let me say this. It was really, like Mama Evelyn said, it was really intro. Let's say it was intro into Afro spirituality.
And
Shada actually she really broke the mysticism down, because
mhm,
there's a lot of information out here, but if you don't know exactly where to get started and how to get started, then you can get lost in the funnels of everything. It wasn't just African based, it was East Indian based, because it was, it was Shakti. um Shakti, and if you know anything, there's Shakti and there's Shiva. They are really like the Indian masculine and feminine divine. The masculine, you got the masculine entities and the feminine entities, and the actual two, they work together.
mhm,
um you know and there was, like I said, it was the start of my spiritual journey. I don't know about Mama Evelyn, but it was definitely start. What I loved was the sisterhood, and I think that's one thing I do miss, is that type of sisterhood. We also had a chance to share our gifts and talents, and incorporate it into what it is that we were learning. And that's why I have the spirit dials for Mama Evelyn, because it was definitely, it wasn't just spirituality, it was building up the what you call it, self-esteem. It
mhm,
was definitely getting into health and nutrition, because she incorporated what is it, Queen of Fours and the fast and everything into it. um it was definitely self-discipline outside of the church. It was a learning to be disciplined in a different um matter. Like I don't know about you, Mama Evelyn, I still have my notebook from Shati as like, it's almost like a resource guide. Like, this is like where everything got started. And there was just a sisterhood. There was just, we got together. We did the first soul sweat over there. We came together. Like, I remember us doing this fast, and I remember one of our sisters didn't have the money to go out and buy everything, and it was like, well, why don't we pool our money together? At that particular time, it was a lot of it was a lot of spiritual economics going on, because I don't think none of us had the money to really be doing what we were doing. So
mhm,
we pulled together. If we wanted Green Life, we pulled together and bought it in bulk, and then split it amongst all of us so that we all had Green Life.
mhm,
um if we needed something, it was there, it was provided for. It was and it was now I realize there was a lot of principles of Ifa that was brought into it. There was a lot of different other stuff that was other, religious, not religions or spiritual practices that was brought into it. But it makes me feel good, because it means that I can have a hodgepodge of techniques and rituals that work well for me.
mhm,
I
Mhm.
say that again, for me. May not work well for somebody else, but it added that first layer of this is what you can do to better your life. And that's that. And like I said, I love the sisterhood. I miss the brotherhood. One of the brothers used to be on the phone from Atlanta, and it was funny when I went to go work for Queen Afua for a weekend, and ended up having like a 24-hour layover trying to get home. I guess I was talking to somebody on the phone, and somebody comes up and was like, "What up, ma'am?" And I'm looking like, "Who is this dude?" And he was like, "Your voice sounds so familiar." And I'm sitting here like, how do I know this man? I don't know this man. Who is this man? Somehow we got to talking about spirituality and Shakti and everything. He's like, yeah, it's me. It's Dana. Dana was the guy that was doing the class from the phone. And here we are meeting at the airport on the way back to Detroit. I was like, well, ain't this something right here? Shakti is also where I got trained for yoni steams. Because I remember us talking about yoni steams. I still have the paperwork. And it was like, what is this? This is where I tried doing a yoni steam on a milk crate. I do not suggest that.
I was like,
but this is before I got trained. I'm trying to figure out how to do this on myself and everything. And she's the young lady that brought Yoni Steam Institute up here for us to actually for us to get trained on it. So it was definitely it's the reason why I have the spirituality 101 class. It's like where you start and you just break it down for the beginner to just get started, because there's so much stuff out here. There's Tai Chi, Qigong, do I need to be doing yoga? Should I be meditating? Sometimes it's just good to learn stuff and then figure out your own as to what it is.
Yeah. And Shashada is a wealth of knowledge. And with her, you get firsthand someone who totally immerses in whatever she's practicing, whatever she's learning, whatever. I mean, I love my sister, but to the detriment sometimes of her living conditions. Yeah. She's usually couch surfing.
Yeah.
And it's like, but she will go all out to pay for whatever training, go wherever she has to go. She just fly by night. And I don't know if you know Danyelle, but she's battling breast cancer.
No, I didn't know.
Yeah. It's been, I think it went away and then it came back. I definitely before the pandemic, I remember she came over to Sheena's, her and Wendy. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, she came over here actually. When did she came over? She just stopped by. I can't remember. I think it was before the holidays. And so she's still doing her, but she's dealing with that and doing it naturally. She's not, doing chemo or anything like that. So send a prayer out to her, because
speaking of
it must be stressful not having a place to stay.
So, and that's one of the things, not that, but as you go along this journey, you meet so many knowledgeable people that have the knowledge of health, wellness, spirituality. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'm talking about, first of all, let me say this, because of Shashada is the reason why I know about Queen Afua. She is also the reason how I found out about Mama Raven. She's also how we came across Sherry. Sherry. Singer Sherry. Mama Sherry, sorry. And so I am thankful and grateful to have met her. Not only just met her, but also the people that came from her. Because they all added something influential into my
Mhm.
life. So what I was saying is I'm finding out there's a lot of people who have this great knowledge, but they don't have the foundation behind it. Like there's a lot of shakiness behind their personal foundation. And then you find people who do have it, who have it seamlessly all together. But sometimes people feel like they're not being 100% authentic or 100% real because they have it together, they don't have access to them like the people who don't have the secure foundation. Prime example, like we know Shashada, I mean, is wealth of knowledge. But then you just told me what she said about still not having that foundation. I can reach out to Shashada, but then again, let's look at somebody like Queen Afua. Same vast of knowledge, but not instant access. If you notice, you can't just go and reach out to a Queen Afua or Ayana Van Zandt. You just can't grasp at them. You know what I'm saying? And I know some people would feel like I've heard people say they don't think that they were authentic because they can't reach them like that. I'm like, it's a whole different level here. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
right.
There's security, there's access, but a lot of it is, you know, and I say this because I work with Queen and I've seen her work with people. You have to protect your Ori, you know, your Ori, your character, your spirit when you're working with a lot of people. Um, and you also have to take rest and respite too, because you're giving a lot of energy. You have to be able to call that energy back and take care of your, and I guess I'm learning this myself, you know, from this past week. You got to learn how to take care, bring it back into it, but being able to have all fronts together, the spiritual, the educational, the mental, the financial, all of it, it, I would say it plays a huge role. It plays a huge role. And when I'm finding out, what I found out later is there's a lot of people who are spiritual. You'll never know that they're spiritual.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
they are spiritual and they do their work and their practices and everything. And that's why they're popular and what's the word I'm looking for? Successful because they're doing the work, but they're not flaunting that they're doing the work, if that makes any sense. A lot of your celebrities, for instance, I know Usher is into Usher is an Ifa. It's a lot of actors that's in Ifa that have their Orisha beads, like what I wear. And it's like when you start finding out how many of them practice, you be looking like, and then you start seeing pictures, and you be like, oh, they got covered up. Oh, they it starts to make a lot of them. It's a entertainer is named Sweetie. Is it Sweetie or Shorty? I think it's Sweetie. And she just recently put up a picture of her the altar that she has, the Oshun. And it was like a lot of people were like, whoa, I didn't know. Okay, you wouldn't know unless she said something. Um, what is it? Cardi B, I know, is into Santeria, which is a sister religion of Ifa. Um, you know, so it's really just practicing and really knowing what you want and balancing everything together. Your health, your wealth, your spirituality, your mind. That's why one of the things I love with Tava right now, they have this thing called falling in love with myself again. And they're taking a lot of these principles and just breaking it down for people because you could take all the supplements you want. You can eat healthy, you can get all the sleep and have all the rest and everything and still be mentally distraught. You know, you could still be torn. You know what I'm saying? Some people get to a plateau of weight loss and don't know why. There might be some deep hidden trauma that's inside your body that is trapped that hasn't come out yet that you haven't dealt with. Um, they actually introduced me to a digital journal, and I'm loving the digital journal because it allows me to do things like just writing won't. Like I can do a video, I could do audio, I could do pictures, I could tie it to it's already tied to my Instagram. So whatever I post, it can snapshots that and puts everything all in one, and I can journal anywhere. How I'm feeling, what I'm feeling, and different things of that nature. It's called what is it called? Oh, my phone is right here. I
Is
did
it
not get a chance to.
an app? It's an app?
It's an app, Day One. It's called Day One. And I'm loving it. I'm like, this is a game changer for me. Because a few months ago it was suggested to me to do a digital, and I'm like, I don't want to do digital. It's something about writing stuff out and everything like that, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like this opportunity came up, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm getting a lot more stuff off of me. Obviously, like I said, I had back pain this week, and I had to sit down and look. If you look at Louise, I have Louise Hayes, You Can Heal Your Life. So whenever something pops up, what is this? And then the lower back pain has something about being not supported, not feeling supported, not being financially secure, worrying about money. And I'm like, oh, okay. We got to let some things go, because walking around with that heavy burden on your back like that, or walking around in pain like that is not, that I'm not about that life. So I have to speak affirmations. I'm finding myself creating affirmations on a daily basis, and it makes it a lot easier for me to journal. And like I said, right now I am not carrying a whole lot of stuff with me. I'm carrying only what I need. So I'm just like, being able to have a digital journal is absolutely, absolutely amazing.
Is
And
it Danielle, is it one like I looked up the app, it says diary?
no,
Not
it's
that
actually called Day One.
the number one or ONE?
It's ONE.
Okay, there's one journey. Daily.
Is it blue and white?
Yeah, but all three of them are blue and white.
Let me get on my phone. And I also like it. It goes on my phone. It's on my phone. It's on my iPad. I think it's on my computer. I haven't sat down and used my computer.
I typed in Day One.
It looks like this.
Yeah.
So that's it right there.
Okay.
I didn't see it with the diaries or anything like that. I just saw, what is it? Journal. And I know it's getting a lot of the stuff off of my mind. It's making it a lot easier. It's making it a lot easier to focus or just see what's going on. And like I said, I know for me, movement, I want to do a juice fast so bad.
Grand Rising, Lakeisha.
Grand Rising, ladies, Grand Rising.
You know, when you look over to that other screen like you're doing, you're not looking at us. There you go.
Yeah, go right here.
It'll
Yeah.
take a lot of adjusting for you to get that. How was your last show?
It was good. It was good. I think tomorrow is going to be really, really nice. I have a nurse that's coming on, and she's a health coach, a nurse, and dealing with the metabolic disorders.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to be like really interesting. She shared a lot of information. I think it's going to be good. So it was good. It was good. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Now I had a question. You was talking about the IFA. Is it IFA? How do you spell that? You said they practice IFA. What is
IFA?
IFA. How you spell that?
IFA. IFA.
IFIA.
No, IFA.
IFA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never heard of that before.
IFA.
Go ahead. That's from the what religion or practice? Go ahead.
So so
Yoruba.
I'm trying to explain it. It's Yoruba. And Yoruba is, it's a practice, it's a language, it's based out of West Africa. It's a West African spiritual religion. So it is based out of West Africa. It's pretty much, Ifa believes in it believes in God. It also believes that there are what most people consider angels, they consider what they call orishas. And the orishas are aspects of God within nature. So it's a religion that's highly respectable of nature, and just honoring God in a different in different aspects of nature. That's the best way I can explain it. It is probably one of the oldest religions out there. A lot of African slaves that came from over in Africa, depending on where they went, depends on where Ifa went. So Ifa did come over here, and a lot of slaves actually hid their practicing of Ifa up under the saints. So a lot of times, if the master looked and they saw them have, they didn't freak out, but they saw them have a altar that was, to Saint Mary. Well, it really wasn't Saint Mary. They were actually worshiping Yim and Yah. But as long as it looked like it was Mary, you know what I'm saying? They wouldn't be bothered with. When they placed them up under the saints over in the islands, what is it, like in the islands they call it Santeria. And then when you got in Cuba, they call it Lucami. It's all the same thing. It's all the same. It's really the same thing. It's really the same principles. Some of the same rituals and everything like that. They kind of transcend everything. So yeah, it was and a lot of people brought a resurgence back to it, because I know for me it just feels more natural. It feels like something my ancestors probably did before Catholicism. And that's a real interesting conversation to have, because I'm thankful for my Christian background and how I grew up, but I always did question, what did we do before the Bible was actually introduced to us? Because there was a life, you know what I'm saying? There was a life, there was a culture, there was a lot that was before that. What was life before then? Kind of know what was life after, during, but what was life before then? So, and I love the fact that it doesn't take God out of the picture. There's still a creator. What is different is that they don't have a devil. They don't have a devil. There's not something necessarily evil per se. So you don't have that fear of, and it's like they don't believe in sin either. It's your character. Are you a good character? Are you of good morals? So that's what I've noticed about this that's different. That and it's heavily ancestral based. So working with your ancestors is a part of working in these religions, which if you kind of think about it, some people's ancestors are angels, just different name and just a different way of honoring them and respecting them. And like I said, honoring, respecting nature, and bringing balance into your life. It's definitely something different. I would say that different from how I grew up. I would say that much.
So I could see why, when I came in, you had said like some people are very spiritual, but you would never know that they were very spiritual. And that is a lot probably too because of society. You know what I mean? Society look at you differently sometimes when they see how you're practicing and doing different things. Like I would post a lot of things in my golden nuggets on Facebook for years. And a lot of them came from Buddha. A lot of the different quotes and everything, and people would never know, but they comment on it, but they would never know that a lot of things that I would posted came from Buddha. Not saying I practice Buddha, but I believe there's positivity in everything. Like you just gotta, I say, eat the straws and spit out the sticks. Eat what works for you,
Yeah.
and and let go of what does not work for you. And he was so wise. Like I just don't understand. And I look at other religions. I used to study different religions at one point in my life, and I just don't see how just one religion fits everybody in the whole world. Like, you know, I see, like, when you go to the gas station, you have the Muslims and they pray every single day. They would close the gas station down and have their time with God. Like, so how can you not respect that? Like, how can you not? They have a different type of spirituality and a relationship with their source being. So, most people, they shy away and don't want to, share their spiritual practices. So I can see how some people, you may not realize how spiritual they are because of society and the judgment that
Yeah,
you
the attack that they've been attacked about it, and so they just don't even they don't even share it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I know when my freedom came, I am so glad. I'm so glad that it's important that I have my own relationship and my own understanding, and that is okay. Okay, because otherwise, if you're in something and you don't get it, you don't understand it, and you're just doing it because that was how you were raised, or you've been condemned and attacked as a result of what makes sense to you, then you just shut down, just be quiet and don't talk. Don't talk about it at all. And the expression of that is what's so important. When you find someone that believes like you do, or is open to everything, it's a woosah. I can be free to talk.
Yeah.
My husband, a friend came over, guitar player, and they went downstairs, and then he said, I don't know if he saw the books that was on Philip's keyboard or something, and he started talking. He said, "Oh man, oh man, I love this book," and you could just feel. I'm upstairs, and I could feel my husband just open up, because he could talk a language that somebody else understood. Because when he talking, some of it I have to just like, I don't understand what does that mean, and I would compare it to, what I knew as a Christian, and oh, that means, oh, that's the same as blah blah blah. And so when he came upstairs, I said, you're really enjoying being able to talk to somebody about the same thing that you believe in, or things that you study, whether it's believe it or not. It's I study this, and then I can talk to somebody about that, Yeah. But it all leads to one. There's only one source. Call it what you will, but
Call it what you will.
yeah, it's
But I
one
like you said,
source.
he's one source, many names, and
Many
I
paths
think it's
to it, to each of
right.
the ways. There are many paths.
Absolutely.
I
You
think,
know.
but I think it's interesting. It's just being, like you said, just open to the conversation. And I'm still amazed that in 2023 there are people who are still not open to the conversation. Like, I have a group chat with my family. I think one time I mentioned something about the ancestors. My cousins my age are learning about this stuff, and they're open to it. My elders are not. And one of my aunties was like, "Oh, I don't know anything about ancestors. All I know is Jesus, so I'm just going to stick with that." And I'm sitting here like, Oh, so you don't know? I'm thinking to myself, you don't know ancestral principles? Didn't you and your family come together to celebrate what would have been the 93rd birthday of your father? Is that not an ancestral gathering? You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Like, it's amazing to me how people can be so far removed from and then be closed to the idea of, oh my God, that don't sound like of God. Yeah, but you guys just celebrated somebody's dead, who's dead birthday.
I remember, I know I probably got this from Wayne Dyer years ago, and he
Mhm.
said, be open. It may not have been him. It could have been somebody else, but I want to say it's Wayne Dyer. Be open to everything, attached to nothing.
Mhm. Exactly.
Be open to everything, but attached to nothing. Like when you start getting attached to things, you can't really grow. Like you can't grow. Like, so nothing surprised me because anything is possible with the God in the world that we live. Like anything is possible. And it, whatever it is that you believe, like I always like tell my kids, like, if this makes sense, we all live in the same world, but
Mhm.
we all live a different world within the same world that we live
Right, right,
in.
right, 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 right. I, the principle that I got when I was reading Conversation with God, um, is that there is we are one, and there is no better than.
Mm,
There is no better than. This
mm,
is better than that. That's better than that. If it doesn't register and that makes sense in my spirit, then you don't have me totally. You got me trying to figure out why or something like that. But when it connects, oh man, you can't. That's what's so beautiful, that you know, having your own relationship with the Creator.
yes.
That's what's important. And you have one, whether they call it atheist or whatever. That's still a relationship.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was watching on this show, New Amsterdam. Oh my God, that show is so good. I mean, it's so good. And
Mm,
one of the things, New Amsterdam is a hospital that takes care of people even if they don't have insurance and such. And the characters and the stories are um so good and beneficial. Anyway, um, what was I saying about that?
New Amsterdam,
Yeah,
the
but
show.
yeah. But I was trying to see what was that? Where was I going with it? Um, it'll come back. But the bottom line is just uh what people believe in, and you just cannot. I remember when I was like, I wanted my husband to be saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, and all of that, boom, boom, boom. And with the evidence of tongues and all that stuff, and my husband, he speaks in tongues. He doesn't practice it, but he does. He can. And when you look at that, if a person was to walk in, I thought about that if a person was to walk into the church that I was at, which is a small church, and it was a deliverance ministry. Well, if you was to walk in there, sometimes you would be like, oh my God, they're worshiping the devil or something, because everybody's speaking in tongues. Everybody, we're in praise and worship, or we're in a spiritual battle, which is totally different. The intensity of, the speaking in tongues and such, is different. And they would be like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. So you go to a gathering where the sisters are usually in all white, and they're dancing, they got the drums, and they're speaking in tongues because it's just whatever is coming out. Then you're scared of that because you don't understand that. So anyway, we are one, and there is no better than. So I just learned that when somebody that's deep in their heart, your relationship with God is your relationship. And all you can do is be an example of goodness, an example of love, an example of, an example of holiness. And what does that look like to you? Holiness to some looks like you're wearing a turtleneck all the time. You got clothes on all the way down to your feet. So,
I just think that we as people just need to learn and respect each other where they're at, and not to try to force our opinions and thoughts on others. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can all come together. We can all how can I say this? Yeah, like what I'm noticing being in different groups, it's like you have different groups that it seems like everybody is on the self-love tip. I'm noticing that in different communities and different circles. What I notice is because of where they're coming from, and if there's limited beliefs, there's parts of what they're trying to do in terms of helping people, mind, body, soul.
Yeah.
There's a missing because they're, like I said, they're limited to their beliefs where they're at. So you have it's like everybody's empowering everybody, but some sectors will only stick to the word, but never talk about the food that we're eating. Never talk about what is prayer, what's the difference between prayer and meditation. They never talk about certain aspects, whereas if you have more of a spiritual community, they talk about all those aspects, but then when it comes to money and everything, there's a disconnect. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
oh yeah, right.
like everybody, like it's almost like everybody need to get together, because what you're missing is coming from the sector that you're afraid to step your foot into.
Right.
That's what I'm noticing.
Right.
And then somebody would ask me, well, you're all over the place. Where I'm like, because I'm missing. It's like going to a dinner and they give you everything except for one place would give you everything except for the starch. Another place would give you everything except for the bread. You go somewhere else, they would give you everything except for the meat.
Yeah.
You go somewhere, and you're just sitting there like, oh my God. So like, I'm loving this thing about the pleasure and learning about pleasure, the pleasure principle, and realizing that, for the longest you hear that you are your own happiness. You're the source of your own happiness. And then we're also responsible for our own pleasure. And I remember my other mentor, telling her partner about Namaste, and her partner was so religious. She was like, oh, I just can't do that. I just can't do that. You just can't move your body and just have fun and, release whatever is keeping you rigid and tense and worries and fears and doubts and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, it's amazing how to resistance people can be into something that's just like, yeah, but this is going to bring about more manifestation. This is going to bring about more pleasure. This is going to bring about more smiles, more happiness. Maybe even orgasm or two. Like,
they might be scared of that tapping into that might bring up some feelings that they're not used to.
Yeah.
I feel that's a sin to feel that. I wanted to, these kind of thoughts came, blah blah blah, so it's like I'll just stay dormant. I'll put her in a coma, right?
I know one thing. You just have to do what's best for you. You can't go around, listening to other people. Like when I was younger, and I could not understand why people would say this. They used to say that I was going to be pregnant before I reached the age 16. Like I had a couple of people say that to me. And I'm like, why would they say that to me? Because I wasn't like a fast child. Like I wasn't fast. You know what I mean? Like I talk stuff, but I wasn't fast and promiscuous and chasing boys
Yeah,
and all that.
yeah.
For them to put that type of label on me, I'm like, what is it about me that they feel like I'm about to be pregnant before I'm reached the age 16? Like, so you can't really listen to a lot of what of what people say. And then you just have to find your, I guess, your own, journey. So like every, different places, like I used to have somebody tell me about like I wasn't stable, like for instance, like different ministers have um had a place in my life at certain points in my life, like
Yeah.
TD Jakes, Joyce Myers, Joel Osteen, Frederick Price, like they all somehow has helped shape me to the person that I am, you know, that I am today. Like they all had a place when I was going through certain things in my life. They, you know what I'm saying? So you just can't listen to nobody. You just have, I guess, have to have your own,
Yeah.
journey. Because they all had a place at some point in my life. When I was going through my divorce, different, you know, they did something for me. They helped me to stay grounded and to make it through what I was going through as a young age, being married and going through cheating and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of difficult for a young woman with kids who you think that's, so they all had a place, to help me to make it and deal with what was, going on in my life. So you just keep on doing you, Danyelle, just, do you, because as I say, eat the straws and spit out the sticks. Whatever worked for you at that time, then just go for it.
Mhm.
I'm saying that I'm forever a hodgepodge, because even earlier when Sheila asked the question about when me and Mama went through a spiritual initiation called Shakti Soul, that was a hodgepodge of information. I'm gonna say information, rites and rituals. You know what I'm saying? And I'm beginning to realize that everything is a seed that's planted. It's planted um in order for us to grow to where we're at today.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's certain principles that I hear. Like I really want to do a sister circle. Like I miss the energy of just being around like-minded women. Um
Speaking of sister circle, Sunday, I guess today is something with the moon or something.
it's a new moon. It's a new moon.
Yeah, so at 12 o'clock she had put out a text about well, they ended up picking the shop to come together at the shop at 12 o'clock. So anyone interested, that's where we'll be. I don't
At a physical location? At a physical
a
location?
physical
That's
location.
what, tonight?
12 o'clock this afternoon.
Oh, 12 o'clock this afternoon. Okay.
It wouldn't be something that I would put together because I don't know all the ins and out of all of that. But when Peace does it, or Nawili, or anybody that I know does it, bring all the sisters together. I'm open to learn and experience and share what I have. What I have learned though is I am not I'm not ashamed, or I'm not
Scared.
I'm not scared, or I'm not I'm okay with where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And my cultural spirituality, the things that I'm learning now, started when I moved actually over here to Iron Street. That's when At Peace came into my life. Danyelle, Sherry, Sunzi. Well, I knew Sunzi before, but not from anything that was more health wise. So she was helping my friend and my nephew. But that's when I started learning that about the other religions and other and especially culturally. You know that movie, oh gosh, what's the name of that movie where where they go back in time? What is the name of that movie? They go back to it's the slave ship, and there's this girl that she's like a model and stuff like that, and she goes, oh man, you know when I say the name. Anyway, and she goes back and she goes into the cave where they pick up all the women, all the people, and they put them on the ship and all that kind of stuff. Where is that at? Where they captured all the slaves and put them on the ship?
Oh, are you talking about Amistad?
I'm no. That was a good movie. All them guys. I'm
It's hard to watch sometimes. Be like,
oh, anyway, the girl that was playing, she was there's these people that go over to, where is it where they picked up all the slaves and took them and put them on the ship?
Are you
What
talking
country?
about a ship or a spaceship? Like, what ship are you talking about?
The Africans. When you want to go and see where the passage was, where they would, have all the black people, the Africans.
Was it Woman King? They didn't go back in time.
No, that's way and Grand Rising Ebony.
No, I don't.
Oh, Grand Rising, lady.
When I say it, it's a movie, but it is an actual location. Ghana, is that where we were when when they put the Africans on the ship?
That's terrible. I know I can't say what you're talking about, but I know you're talking about the when you come through that passage and come out onto that beach where the ships were.
Yeah,
it's a total experience, and I couldn't tell
We
you.
had so many movies like that. That's what I'm trying to think.
Anyway, there's a girl when they tell in this movie, there's a girl that she's a model, and when she goes into this another world, like, you know how you in the movies you step into another world and stuff, like a Disney thing, when you walk through this thing and you're in another world, and she learns about herself and everything that she was going through, being, Miss Model Face and all that kind of stuff, had nothing to do with her cultural of who she is and what her people had gone through. So I related to that girl as though that was me. That was so me, not knowing much about my culture. Yeah. So that was like the beginning of me learning about the altars, of me learning about the ancestors, of me learning about how you open up your service and stuff like that. Doing the Everything is just going out of my mind. But you know, when you open up and you do your libations and stuff like that, because all of that was taught in when I was growing up, was taught that you don't do that. So you stayed away. My mama stayed away from all of that stuff. So that's when I started learning, not taking it on as my practice, but learning and understanding and not being afraid of. And yeah, that's when I started learning all about me in that. So it reminded me of that particular movie, because I was telling Maji, I said, they was talking about Arisha and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm just sitting there and they're asking me, yeah, because you know about us. No, I don't know about that. And so, but anyway, it's just that movie reminded me of it. It's going to come to me, the name of that. Okay, so
And if it comes for you, definitely put it in the chat, because I'm interested to see what movie that is.
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested, but I will say practicing it does bring it to a whole nother level. It does bring it, you know, honoring my ancestors. I think honoring my ancestors, learning how to honor my ancestors definitely helped me deal with the grief of losing family members who have transitioned over into the ancestral realm. That doesn't mean that I don't go through the same steps of grief that people go through when people pass, but it's interesting. I'm not stuck grieving, because I'm like, I know that my ancestors are now, I mean, my loved ones are now ancestors who are able to help me manifest from the spiritual into the physical. So they're not gone. They're not forever. They're not in the physical. You know what I'm saying? Then there's a difference. They're not here physically, but that does not mean that they're not here. And it does not mean that they're not, I like the African principle. Our people are not just in there laid up chilling. No, they're actually doing work. They are looking after our bloodline. They are protecting us. They are making sure that we're okay. You know, they're doing the work. They're doing some work. And it's like, I feel like us working together helps bring about more of the safety, more of the protection, more of the, you know what I'm saying? Like, we working together. I don't think they just chilling up there parlaying. They like, if you ever seen, I'm gonna put it like this: if you ever watch Disney movies, if you have grandkids and you watch Disney movies, there's so much spirituality in these movies that's putting right in front of our faces. And I'm sitting here like, oh, every culture is like right in front of our face. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, we working. They working, we working. I need to honor you, honor us, honor everybody. You know, like I had a situation this past weekend. You couldn't even think, about what was going on. It was just something needed to be taken care of. Found out about it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Needed to be taken care of by 5, by 6. And the way that everything flowed and worked out, that was nothing more than just the ancestors working things out.
Yeah.
Working, just like when you start working with your spirit guides, you actually start to recognize who's recognizing doing what. That's why I hate when I have fake priests and priestesses come into my inbox talking about, oh, I sense something about you, especially when I'm going through stuff like I am right now. I sense something. No shit, tell me something I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I got work to do. I know there's some honoring, some talking, some conversations that need to be had. And you know, you can tell when there's upheavals and stuff. Sometimes you just got to sit down and, like you said, pray to God, pray. What is it? Like I said, I talk to God. I talk to my ancestors. I talk to my Orishas. I'm like, I need some sweetness in my life. I need this in my life. I need a little opening, airway of what's going on. And yeah. And speaking of the new moon, I love doing the new moon and the full moon and the waxing moon exercises. Like, so the new moon is all about newness. It's always about newness, and it's always about us going into another phase. I believe we're going into Pisces. It's a full moon in Pisces, and not full moon, new moon in Pisces. On the most simplistic level, what I usually like to do is just take a sheet of paper and write out everything that I want to see done, or want to see happen, or that I need between now and the full moon. So this is me planting the seeds of, hey, whatever. And then when the full moon comes, I pull out that piece of paper and I look and see what I did, what has accomplished, what has happened, and I give God and universe honor for manifesting that. And then we go into when the moon is going from full into the waning phases, that's when you get rid of stuff. So this is bringing on everything that you want to happen, I say, within the next 15 to 30 days. It's probably one of the most simplest exercises, because you're actually putting it out there into the universe, what it is what you need, and within that particular time frame. Our bodies are made up about what, 70, 75, 80% water. And we do have a very, what is it? We are tied to the moon. It is so powerful that, when, for us women who are still menstruating, one of the terms for our menstrual cycles is a moon cycle, because if your cycle, matches up with the moon, it's almost like you're a more magical person. I don't know how true that is, because the calendar changes, but to be on your cycle on the full moon is actually a very powerful thing. So, but it's the moon affects us. It affects our body. It's the number one reason why when they say that things go crazy on the full moon, or it must be a full, the emergency rooms get full on the full moon, literally. Right. Like that energy really does affect people. And if there's any imbalance or anything like that in your body, you know what I'm saying? You can feel it. So, to sit here and tell me that we are not a part of the earth, or we're not, that this stuff doesn't work and it's not of God, or blah, 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 blah. Okay, you can't deny certain things that goes on. You know what I'm saying? For some people, Mondays is one of the most stressful days of the week. More heart attacks happen on a Monday, if you didn't know that.
That's what statistics says, I don't know. Yeah.
Because they go to work that they don't like this. Okay, so the movie is Sankofa. Sankofa. Yeah, that's the name of that movie.
Sankofa. Spell Kofa. C-O-F-A or Sankofa?
Sankafa.
K-A-F-A.
Hey, I'm sorry. K-O-F-A. San, S-A-N-K-O-F-A.
That's a movie. Okay.
It's a 1993 Ethiopian produced drama film directed by Haley Jerima, centered on the Atlantic slave trade. And when that girl goes through, because she's in a group, and she's a model, and when she goes through and sees what her people went through, it changed her whole life. I know it changed me, and I was just watching it. I just realized, God, I really like that girl. Surface, want to just, dance, want to model and stuff. But when she got in there and saw what her people were going through back in the day, totally changed her. So, yeah. But what we have, I believe God, well, not only do I believe, but I know that just having your connection, whatever that is, and whatever level that is perfect for you. It's perfect. If you don't know about something, God, you're going to know whatever you need to know to get through whatever you need to get through. or to do. And then from that, God brings on whatever is next, what you can handle or whatever is next for you. And all of our journeys are different.
Yes.
All of our journeys are different. And what we see as observers are just what we see. We don't know really what's down in your heart. Like when Carlton Pearson, do you know of him, Lakeisha?
The name sounds familiar, but I can't put a face to the name.
Carlton Pearson in the Christian, he was a Baptist preacher that changed his teaching, but he was a powerful from a little boy. He was powerful. And everybody loved him, and back in the day when there was a lot of different, what do you call it, conferences and stuff, and Carlton Pearson, he sang, so, and he went to this college, this white college, and all that. So anyway, miracles and stuff would be happening, and who he was hanging out with and being taught by, and going to the Christian college and stuff. Well, he was such a powerful preacher. And when they would have these conferences, they would pack it out. Pack it out, like T.D. Jakes and all them, pack it out. Well, he went as the new thought, I'm going to call it that, way of approach to spirituality or new thought. And he started preaching something different and teaching something different. He got totally cut off from being a minister. Totally. And it was funny because he was saying he didn't believe in hell anymore, and the basic foundation of teaching from Christianity, he was sharing something different, and that there was no, you don't go to hell, and so on and so forth. You're talking about somebody cutting his head off. They cut him off. But until that new thought of approach to who God is for you, wherever God has you learning now, the bottom line is that God loves us all. This is what my grandson, I was sharing that my grandson, I said, so, what are you looking for in your girlfriend? Because he hasn't had a girlfriend, or he really is focused on football. He really is a young man focused on what he's doing. He doesn't have time for all of the drama that comes with all of that. So when he said, I want to, first thing is she's got to be God-fearing. I said, well, let's start right there. You don't want her to fear God? Well, yeah, I do. Well, I don't mean that kind of fear, I mean reverence. I said, and nothing in the Bible says I want you to fear me. God is love, and all of that. God is love, unconditional love, pure. That's what you want in your woman. You don't want to fear. Well, we fear our parents. We fear our parents because they gave us a whooping one time. And once pain came from that, that's where the fear came. Then we mix love and fear together. Spare the rod, spoil the child. So we get those kind of teachings, and we think that that's the character of God.
Mm.
But God, whatever you believe in, it's enough to connect. Like I said, even people who say that they are atheists, there's something there's something, they just don't call it what somebody else calls it. And God has no problem with that. To me, God has no problem with that.
It's amazing that you said that because, I don't know where it's at in the Bible, but it does say something about the fear of God, the fear. And I could really never really understood that because I never really feared God. Like, why am I supposed to fear God? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just never felt comfortable fearing him because he's so loving, so kind. Like, why would you, fear him? I think I understand the concept, because you always want God to, you be in a positive light. You know what I mean? Like, do well, like you care about what he thinks of you, you care about that thing. But I never could really grasp that concept to, you're supposed to fear, fear him. And I never feared God. I never feared him. Like,
Right.
Can I say something right here without coming on camera?
Yes, honey. Grand
Okay.
Rising, honey.
Grand Rising, everybody.
Grand
Okay, so one of my assignments on my spiritual journey, part of it was to read the Bible. I'm a Buddhist. I've been a Buddhist since I was 19. But I had to read the Bible because most people that I minister to are Christians. So I had to know what it is. So in reading the Bible, every time it said something about fear God, I would cringe. And so I would go to my Christian friends and says, love and fear cannot live in the same space. So you can't love God and fear him. You can't do both of those. You're either doing one or the other. So they would go, oh no, not fear that way. Fear like awe and reverence. I go, huh?
Right.
Okay, so let me look it up. I look up the word fear. If you look up the word fear, what's going to be there? Scared,
Uh-huh.
number one. Two is terrorized. About the fourth definition down is awe and reverence. So first, if you tell me fear, first I'm gonna get scared.
Yeah.
Then then I'm gonna feel like I'm getting terrorized. So I won't be there no more to hear God because I'm gone, because I'm scared of that. Right. So I said, wait. I ain't gonna never hear God because I won't be there.
Yeah.
I mean, I left that space, right? So what I did was in the Bible, and this fear of God is in the Bible so many times. It'll blow your mind if you really pay attention. I'm gonna tell you about that. It was so inspiring for me. Every place that it said fear, I would cross it out and I would read awe, reverence, or awe and reverence. When you do that in the Bible, baby, it'll take you somewhere. You'll be like, ooh, God.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll take you somewhere when you use the words awe and reverence. You get elevated. Try it. My friends was like, oh, you just can't follow God. You just got to do your own thing. No, but this is the deal what I found out. The Quran, there's one translation of the Quran for the Muslims. One Bhagavad Gita for the Hindus. One Lotus Sutra for the Buddhists. 51 translation of the Bible. Okay, wait a minute. Ho. How y'all gonna have 51? And if you get them different Bibles, they're saying different things. So okay, who telling the truth here? It ain't King James, and then King James. Look up who King James is.
I know, right?
He not a good person. No, not at all. You read who he was. He was a pedophile. He murdered people.
Yep.
He was not good.
Yeah.
So, and that's that's who we're reading his translation. We're reading the translation of a crazy person.
Yeah, right.
You know what? Through my journey, what I saw that God uses people who most like society might have put away. Like he would use that type of person, you know what I'm saying, to come through, the poor, the homeless. Like he would use people who you think that he wouldn't use. So with that, I just feel like, he used those people that's a murderer or he works through them and elevate them. I just believe that
I could go with that.
Mistranslations. Like every Bible has mistranslations in it because
so when you really start to look at that, because so I'm a research. I'm gonna look for, I think that's why part of, because I'm gonna look.
Mhm.
Okay, so I get that what you're saying about God will use anybody. I'm clear about that. But when you start to really look at the history of the Bible and how it came about, you'll start to question even the translation of it. Because Jesus spoke in Aramaic. He spoke Aramaic, which was difficult to translate. So then the Hebrews tried to translate it first into Hebrew. Then, well, the Greeks. Then the Greeks tried to translate it first. Then the Hebrews tried to translate it. So we're actually, and every time you translate it from one language to the other, you start to lose the meaning of it, because what mean black in English don't mean black in Spanish. You start to lose translation as you go from one language translation to the next. So that's the part. But the thing about the Bible that I saw from reading it, that Revelation is in the Bible. Revelation is there because I got elevated and revelations from reading the Bible. And if you really, really read it deeply, there's some stones in there with the wisdom. They put stones in there with the wisdom because, okay, these were Romans who translated. Uh, who was that? Who was that guy's name? Oh, the guy who King James. They were the Romans. When the Romans got in charge of Christianity, that's when it started to go south, because they translated it for them. So it's when the Roman Catholic Church got a hold of the Bible, that's when it went south, because they wrote it so that they could be in control of the people.
I mean,
It no longer became completely God's word, because it was the Roman Catholic Church, because the Roman Catholic Church was the conquerors. So they would go in and conquer people and take their language and take their people who had the truth, and they would burn up all their books and keep only their stuff. So that's what they did. So that's become a lot of it got lost in translation.
that's true. Like, and I commend you for the studies and things that you've done, because I did the same thing on a lot of different eras. And I'm like, who is man to take out certain books out of the Bible? I think they call it the canon books. It's another word.
Yeah, there's a few books that are not in there. Philip called the esoteric.
Oh, they got a bunch of them, y'all. They got a bunch. They got a bunch of books they kept out because canonized. I think Constantine canonized the Bible. He took out the books that he didn't want in there no more and kept the books in there that he wanted to keep. But you got oh my God, I haven't had this conversation in a long time. Oh my God, it starts with an N. Oh my God, it's right down the tip of my tongue. But those books got taken out, and then not in this modern time, they found books of the Bible hidden in the caves over in the Middle East, where people had hid different books because they were burning the books. They didn't want you to have that knowledge and that truth, right? And then you got the lost books of the Bible. It's a lot of them. It's a
That's
lot
what,
of them they took out.
Yeah, the
yeah.
lost book. Yeah.
That's what, but one thing about the Bible, no matter how many people done tried to destroy it, get rid of, because it's been multiple times. They was killing people for even having the Bibles and different things that is still standing. Like some of the word in there is true. Like that's one Bible that's still been around that has not been destroyed. So I just believe that it has a lot of truths in it, because that's the only book in the world that is still here, that people done tried to destroy, eliminate, but it's still standing. So I just believe that part of it, a lot of the things, it's one of the most, it has a lot of, from my studies, that all books have mistranslations in them. There is no book that does not have some type of mistranslation in it, because the same thing that goes for the Bible is the same for other books as well. The different translations to try to come up, with the time, but it was supposed to be said, I don't know, it's been a long time since I did research, that the King James Version was one of the most accurate out of all of the books, but I don't know. It's been so long since I did the research on that, so I don't know how accurate that is standing today. But I think all books have had mistranslations in them. And I just think you just got to call into God and just ask him, to ask him to give you the spiritual knowledge of what you're reading, to give you the clarity of what you're reading. Because when you open up a lot of these books, it's going to be based off of, you're going to get out of it where you stand at that moment, like where you stand at that moment. So you read a verse, it's going to be interpreted different depending on, what you're going through in life. That's just like this book called Ask and It Is Given. And everybody's going to get something out differently from it based off of where you are spiritually. You can read the same verse and everybody can get a different translation from it based off of where they're at, you know.
Well, okay, so this is such a great conversation. This conversation I love. It has to do with our perception and how we see things, and that's how come it becomes very important for
Yes.
you to read and study and clear up your perception, how you're seeing things, because we see with our physical eyes, but where you have to look from and where you're talking about, Lakeisha, you have to look from your spiritual eyes.
Yes.
And when you're looking from your spiritual eyes, but people don't even know that's the method to see.
That's good,
It's
girl. That's good.
through your spiritual eyes. They don't know that's where you got to go, because they think that what they're seeing with their physical eyes is the truth, and what we're seeing with our physical eyes is an illusion. It's our daydream. It's our so the books are the Acropolis.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. They call the crop. Yep, and the candy books. They're the same thing. Yes, that's what it is. That's what
okay, and the point I'm pointing to is when it comes to the holy works, every major religion got one place that they're going from to get that information. It's Christianity that there's 51 different places you could go from. Well, hell, if that's the case, I'm gonna write me a book and I'm gonna take fear out and put love everywhere. It say fear. My friend got mad at me for saying that, but read it. Go read them places where it talk about fear in the Bible and put awe and reverence. You'll fall in love with God in a different place, from a different place.
You really when I was reading Conversations with God, and in particular when he talked the friendship with God and communion with God really got me, in the sense of when God, the conversation with God is Neil Donald Walsh having a conversation. He got pissed off at God about where his life is. So he's in a room and he's, and he's like back and forth, and God starts talking to him and answering the questions and stuff. And where was I going with that? Yeah, when God would say, well, I would really rather you call me friend than father, because your interpretation of what you think father is based on your relationship with your own personal father, your personal mama. And what if mama was to beat you because you did something or you said something or you feared when she looked at you and stuff? That's not what I want. But you call me friend, because your friend, you tell everything to your friend, and things like that. So it just gave a whole different perspective and relationship for me, in how God was being portrayed or explained, in that sense of not the good and bad, but that's just your judgment of that good and bad and stuff like that. It just broke that stuff down, just broke it down for me. And going to hell and about, what is his name? Hitler and stuff, and it just broke it down to just pure love. I could work with that. I could work with pure love. I can see where I am not that in situations, and I can see where I am that in situations.
Well, I just wanted to say this one thing. I've read that too, the piece about Hitler, because guess what? Hitler mama loved him.
Yeah.
His, his children loved him. His daddy loved him. So he wasn't totally non-redeemable.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
And that's the thing too, also, you know, with society. So I had a couple of girlfriends. And I grew up with a gay guy. I grew up with I already knew that he was going to be gay from a child. Like you could just tell his mannerism, and we used to play jacks, and just you could just tell that that was his journey. Even though he fought it, I think a lot.
Yeah.
The best that he could, but you can kind of just see it was in him. And so I had my girlfriends. One was a white girlfriend, she was gay, and I had a black girlfriend, her name Lakeisha, she was gay. But it's no way. I love them. Okay, I love them. Because they spirit, and they love God. They love God. Their spirit was just amazing. And I'm like, if I can love them, I know God got to love them too. Like, it's no way you cannot love them because of who they are as a person, how they present themselves. And that's when I knew. I said, you can't just listen to all these people. It's love is just where it's at. He loved them too. I cannot see how God can't love them, and I love them.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. So I love that this is a personal relationship when you get to the point where it's just personal, period. And you can't force people to believe something that they just don't believe. They don't understand it. And you can't condemn them because they don't believe like you. And most of the time, we're not walking in the pureness of that ourselves. We're working on stuff, and God is working with us. So anyway, it's good. And when you can get to peace with where you are, that's what's important to me. I'm at peace. I'm at peace, and I know I have a lot to learn and a lot to experience, and not to judge where I am with someone else and where they are. And everything that I've gone through, experienced, the good, bad, and the indifference, is my path for my journey, and will never be somebody else's. Never, never, ever. So, yeah. Okay, Danyelle. Yeah.
Hey, I like our conversations. It's like you never know exactly where it's gonna go.
Oh, and I did want to say that Danny Stillwell, her friend did die. And so we just want to keep her lifted up, because I know she was like a sister to her. Yeah.
And have you heard anything from Lily?
I've not. I did post, how you can bless her, and her telephone number, and Star, she created a card and gave and sent that to her from us. So
Okie dokie.
yep, that's that. That is where that is.
No, sorry, my camera. It feels weird being in a different location, even though I'm in the same space. I'm like, this is different. But no, well, I'm excited. I'm excited to just renewing. Spring is coming. We can see that, and I'm just looking forward to just renewing the newness of it all. Even going through the interesting tribulations that I've gone through, I realize that I'm going through them with much more grace than I would, let's say, 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I also see things dissipate as quickly as they show up. They dissipate. There's always another new challenge that presents itself, and it's like, oh, okay, I get to what is it? Work this one out. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. But I am so looking forward to yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting more stuff to have what I need when I need it. My body is telling me I want to do a juice fast. And I think the thing to get over me about doing the juice fast is the fact that I want to buy a juicer, but I have a perfectly good blender. Well, high-speed blender to work with. So I'm like, I'm just gonna work with what I got. And if it shows up in my space to get a juicer, there's nothing wrong with using what I already have, if that makes any sense.
Do you know what one of my friends who's he's raw. He eat raw. One of the things he said about that, it's like you need the fiber from the blender. You need the fiber. The juicer takes all the fiber out when you juice.
I know, I
It,
know, I know.
okay,
And
well,
then that, I mean,
never. Wait a minute, hold on. Never mind.
no, no. I wanted to do a fast, and I know there's a difference between fasting and actually juicing. Whole juicing does have all the fiber still left in there. Um, I guess I'm one of those people that I don't necessarily like pulp, but I can deal with the pulp. It's just there's just a difference when you tried it once without the fiber, and then when you try it with the fiber, and it's like, ooh, there's a difference. There's a difference. It's
I
like
get
my
that.
spirit wants to bite. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I get that the difference between the juicing and the without and with the fiber, like sort of like orange juice with pulp and no pulp.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. What is it? There's a documentary on Netflix called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. I love this documentary because you actually see the person go on a juice fast and actually see their transition within 60 days, I think. And it's a follows a guy named Joe Cross. I don't know what he was in, what businessman. I don't know what he made his money in before uh taking his health, but he contracted some kind of different disease that doesn't have not too many people have it, and it was all based because he was so full of inflammation. His body was just inflamed all the time that he went across country talking about juice fasting while juice fasting, and the results were freaking amazing to the point where his whole business now is all about juicing and fasting. And I did a juice fast when I had a Jack LaLanne juicer, and I did a juice fast, 30-day juice fast, and it reset some things that I forget that we need to fast. You know what I'm saying? There are times that they said that we're supposed to fast for like as the seasons change in order to keep our immune system up. We're supposed to fast as the season at the beginning of the seasons changing. That would keep us from getting colds and getting run down and getting if we fasted. So I realized it's been years since I actually been disciplined enough to actually fast, and that's what I want to do. I just need to get what is it? The cheese bag. The bag is a bag. One guy came out with a bag is to make it easier for you to strain. Um, what is it? To strain your juice. And it's like I know I need to get one of those because there's something innate in me that wants to buy, but now is not the time to be buying anything. Now's the time to be storing and restoring. For me, some things financially, but spiritually, I'm definitely I'm definitely feeling a juice fast, seriously, because it's just time. And I remember one of my elders telling me, I think it's Queen of Four said, when times get interesting and they start to get crazy and stuff like that, you need to sit down and you probably need to fast. And while you're fasting physically, you're also help eliminating stuff out of your life physically as well. So I guess I just feel like I'm at that point right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited. I'm like, I got all the books, all the notebooks, all the binders. That's one thing about me. I do not throw away. If I have a binder full of information, I do not throw that. I do not throw that away. I'm like, it's just time to pull all that correlation. What is it? Put all that correlation together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
This has to be my absolute favorite time of a Monday to actually get and set the tone for the rest of the week. No, I know the kids are out of school this week. Mama Evelyn, it sounds like you have a little respite to yourself for the week. What do you plan on doing this week?
Well, because it was 50 degrees yesterday, I I did some more straightening up of the garage, and just as soon as I get some stuff eliminated then. But anyway, next month, I'm not sure what day, I'll let you know. I will be doing my art thing. What day would be good? What day of the week would be good?
When you say your art thing, what?
You know, on the show where you wanted me to.
Oh, you're gonna be the special guest?
You can be
Yeah.
a special guest on my show, my show, my show. I jumped in
Okay.
and beat all y'all out. My
Okay.
show, Thursday. Because I'm over here now going, what am I teaching on Thursday? Oh, Lord. So my show, my show.
Me.
I know, right? Girl. Well, that was God answering. I was sitting over here going, what am I teaching on Thursday? I better start getting ready now.
I ain't say this Thursday.
I know I got something for this Thursday, but whenever you're ready, I'm ready, girl.
Okay.
It's stressful for me coming up with a subject. I'll be like, okay, because God won't give it to me right. Make me wait right to the last minute. And then I go to the computer thinking I'm about to leave one thing and something else come out. I'll be like, oh my God, this is stressful to me. But it's always good. But whoo, God make me wait, man. Like, you trust me, I got this. I'll be like, okay, but can I know anything about the show? Okay, just any little thing.
He said, yeah, you can know what time to be there.
That's it, girl. It's stressful. It's stressful for me. So last week I said, you know what? I'm gonna have to be comfortable that it's this way, because you don't go do no speaking without no agenda and knowing what you go talk about and have your timing. That professional thing ain't never worked for me. No way. So I don't even know why I'm trying to be professional. But after I saw myself on the show with my do-rag on and my house coat, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm over. That's over. I didn't know the damn.
You have to see for that revelation, not somebody.
Girl, no. I'm telling you, who I am is I like Cliff Notes. I don't have to see everything. You can let me know.
Yeah.
You can get, excuse me, ma'am, miss. Oh, that's funny to me.
Okay, so let me tell you, let me share this. When one of the things that I learned is that, and I'm gonna use the word sin. Your sin is how you say? Okay, you will forgive. Oh, come on, help, Holy Ghost, show me how to say this. When someone does what you do, which is like you say, your reflection or your, what's it called, the mirror?
Your mirror.
You
Yep.
forgive those who do the same thing that you do. And those things that you just can't stand, when someone does that, you don't do that, right? So what was funny to me was when, and I look at myself, totally, I look at myself with this, is that when you talk about ISIS, the sister ISIS,
the Isis,
yes, how strict she is with her show and with what she does, that's how she lives. So she won't accept anything less than that. Well, like with my show, if we're late, because Sheila does not require of herself to be on time. So when you first came on, you would be, laying down and
girl, what?
And so when I came to your class, when that was happening with Decretia and others who are laying back on the bed, and I said, That's
I
because,
get it.
yeah, so.
I get it totally. But okay, now the only difference for me is this. We opened up our circle inside of a sacred space. So now we
Yes,
inside of sacred space. So now what we doing inside of the sacred space? You know what I mean? Now, when you leave a sacred space, so and I did not approach your show that way. I approached like, hey, we having a show. The girls go get together in the morning. We go talk. We go kick it, right? But there is a particular protocol. I didn't know it was gonna be on YouTube for the whole world to see. Okay, that's a different conversation, Sheila. Come on, boo. I looked on there, saw myself with my do rag on, going on the wild. I was like, see, now y'all know I look like a crazy lady. Okay, fine. Let me put on clothes or not come on camera
yeah,
if
yeah.
you're ready for that. Yeah, if I
So
ain't ready.
I'm just talking about all of us and those
Yeah,
things
it's true though. That's the
that,
truth though. You
yeah.
see, I put in correction immediately. I don't play.
I went to this woman's house who is a sister, and her house is immaculate. I went into her bathroom. I made sure that when I left that bathroom, it was exactly how she had it.
Mm-hmm.
Where others, you just, I mean, I cleaned up behind myself and all that kind of stuff, but I'm saying immaculate.
Yeah. And
Because of where I was and and stuff, right?
that's deep that you say that, Sheila, because when the space is like that, like clear like that,
Yeah.
it calls for that. Like the space calls for impeccability.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The space calls for impeccability.
Mm-hmm.
Like where I'm staying at Michelle's house, her husband, when he gets through using something, he put it back. He get through using something, he put it back.
Mm-hmm.
So his space, especially in the kitchen, because that's his joint, because he do a lot of the cooking here and the clean, making sure the kitchen is reset. That's what he
Mm-hmm.
call it. I reset the kitchen. I'll be like, okay, because he keeps the kitchen immaculate. You can walk in and start doing anything.
Yeah.
So it calls for that. So when I'm in his kitchen, I reset that kitchen because I know that's what he calls for.
Right. Right. Right.
You know, whereas everybody else in this house, including me, we just leave it there. We get it later.
Yeah. Right.
But that's not what. So I truly get what you're saying. Hmm.
Oh, thank God for time of correction or time of resetting.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yep.
Well, Queens, we are at the 2 minutes before the end of the session. And I know sometimes when, we say on Mondays, if it's a holiday that we won't do the show, not the President's Day, not that kind of stuff. I'm talking about like Christmas or Thanksgiving or something like that, then we don't have a show on those. And I would announce it anyway. So tomorrow, because Deetra and I switched because of her guest. Her guest was phenomenal. She was she was her. It was her. She was awesome. So tomorrow, I tried to say, well, Deetra, you could still do tomorrow if you want. So we will be talking about the event, showing you where we are and getting some input from everybody and getting hyped up and what's next, as far as getting it out on the media. I captured a lot. I hung out with Reverend Omani, and we fixed some wording on there that will entice the people to come on, and layers of the website is coming together and pulling all of that. So we will be talking about that and kicking that off so that we are very successful in our first endeavor together like this. And I'm really excited. I'm very pleased with where we are. And yeah, really excited. So, and so that's what we'll be talking about tomorrow. We may have a guest, we may not. Remembering that, let me show this one thing, make sure it's ready. No, that's not what I want. I want this, that this Friday is, my girls are coming on. Because we still are in Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want you guys to meet my girls. They, Pamela Farrell, I relate to her and her husband, Talib Dean, as my my business godparents. You know, they've helped me from the very beginning. They're in Washington, D.C. Phenomenal people. Dr. Joanne Cornwell is the one who came up with the sister locks technique, and just her approach to business is what we want to talk about, because you can create something, but to build it, like I call her a modern day Madam C.J. Walker, and we'll talk about that. And then Cheryl Morrow, she is Willie Morrow's daughter, and phenomenal about hair, our hair. They created the California curl, so we'll talk about all of that, and the 1970s civil rights movement of natural hair, and why we even had to go through that, and what that was about, the history. So, you know, chime in, and we're going to have a good time. So, anyone want to share anything as we are about to hug ourselves and hug the world?
I just want to say, throughout the week, find that one thing that honors you, do something that honors you, that shows love to you, to yourself. Fall in love with yourself again. I know for me, with last week's back issue, I know when I get off this show, I'm about to do my prayer, my meditation, my yoga, get my 30 minutes in, because yeah, no, we not we're not about to live life like that. We just not.
Right.
And I'm so happy. I thank God that I have the knowledge to take care of myself naturally. Like, I don't have just the books and the notes. I actually have the herbs, the teas, the tonics, and the food to do it. And it's just a matter of doing it. So I'm glad this is kind of reminding me of who I am, what I stand for, and within my own life and my own body. And that's exactly what we're about to do. I'm not going to just sit here and live with, that was a week. I can't live my life a week in pain like that. Not like that. No, not period. So
no, we're not going to do this.
So we're gonna do what needs to be done in order to live out a healthy lifestyle. You got to do things differently. So that's how I'm loving and honoring myself today. I would love for you guys to choose something to love and honor yourself, and fall in love with yourself, to, not just today, but all week long.
I say. All right. Give yourself a big hug. Thank you, Danyelle, for today. Mama Evelyn. Mama Evelyn, she already done checked out. And hug the world. And we will sprinkle all the goodness and the rest that Mama Evelyn needs right now.
Peace out.